Today, I'm not here to talk to you about motivation. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to warn you. My brother, we think we're strong. We think we can handle anything. We think we can listen to whatever we want, watch whatever we want, sit with whoever we want, and still remain the same. But the truth is, the human heart is fragile. So fragile that one sound can change it, one conversation can stain it, one habit can poison it, and you won't even feel it happening. You'll just wake up one day and wonder why your Quran feels heavy, why your salah feels empty, why your tears disappeared, why your dua feels like it hits a ceiling. Let me show you why. Imagine your heart as a vessel. Imagine your heart like a cup. Tell me, how much can you pour into a cup? And once it becomes full, everything after that overflows. And that overflow doesn't just spill on the floor. It spills into your life. It spills into your thoughts. So suddenly you can't control what you think about. It spills into your cravings. So the same thing that used to be disgusting now feels normal. It spills into your habits. So the sin that used to be once in a while becomes a daily routine. And it spills into your reactions. So you get angry faster, you feel numb quicker, you break easier, and you don't even know why. Because you don't realize you have been filling your heart with the wrong things. And listen to this carefully. Your heart is not just a feeling, your heart is an amana, a trust, a responsibility. Nobody is coming to guard your heart for you, in front of your eyes and block what you scroll. No one will stand in front of your ears and filter what you hear. No one will stand in front of your tongue and stop what you say. That is your job. Your heart is your job. And the problem is, we treat our hearts like they are indestructible. But wallahi, they are not. Now let me give you an example that you will never forget. Imagine I bring you a cup, and inside that cup is pure Zamzam water. Not fake, not mixed, not bottled in a factory. Pure Zamzam. Straight from the source. A miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Blessed water from the greatest place on earth. Now imagine, you're holding that cup in your hands and you see it with your own eyes. One single drop of impurity falls into it. Just one drop. Tell me the truth. Would you drink it? Even if I told you it's still 99.9% Zamzam. Even if I told you the water is still mostly pure. You would look at me and say, no way. You would feel disgust. You would push the cup away. You would reject it instantly. Why? Because something pure cannot be polluted. And your heart is more valuable than that cup. Your heart is the place where Iman lives. Your heart is the place where Quran settles. Your heart is the place where sincerity grows. So my brother, if you wouldn't accept impurity in Zamzam, then why are you accepting impurity inside your heart every single day? Because every time you hear something haram, it doesn't just pass by, it enters. Every time you sit in a gathering of foolish talk, it doesn't just disappear into the air, it enters. Every time you listen to backbiting, to gossip, to toxic conversations, to filthy jokes, you are not just listening, you are pouring. You are pouring into the cup of your heart. And one day, when your heart is full, it will overflow. And that overflow will show up in a scary way. Your mouth will speak with darkness. Your eyes will crave darkness. Your mind will chase darkness. And then you will say, why am I like this? My brothers, my sisters, be careful what you expose yourself to. Because the first and most dangerous channel to your heart is what you listen to. The ears are not innocent. The ears are a gateway. Backbiting is not just words. Haram speech is not just sound. Foolish talk is not just jokes. And music is not just entertainment. These things are arrows, and every arrow goes straight into the heart. You might laugh today, but that laughter leaves a stain. You might say it's not that deep today, but that sound will return to you in the most terrifying moments, in your silence, in your loneliness, sometimes even in your salah. So protect your ears before they destroy your heart. Protect your heart because you only get one, and the heart doesn't forget. Because the heart doesn't forget, it stores everything. My dear hearts, you need to understand something terrifying. Not everything that enters your life stays in your life, but everything that enters your heart stays. Because the heart doesn't just hear, the heart records. And the first arrow, the first doorway, the first open gate into your heart is your ears. Channel number 1, the ears. What you hear does not stop at your ears. It travels, it sinks, it settles. It reaches places inside you that you cannot even see. And this is the danger. Sound becomes memory. Memory becomes desire. Desire becomes action. That one audio you heard for fun becomes a loop in your mind. That one conversation you heard by accident becomes a stain on your heart. That one filthy joke you laughed at becomes normal in your soul. And slowly, without you realizing, your heart changes. Because what you expose yourself to becomes what you accept, and what you accept becomes what you chase. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your ears? Backbiting, gossip, haram talk, endless noise, pointless debates? My brothers, don't ever think it's harmless, because the ear is a direct tunnel to the heart, and once something enters, it does not leave easily. The music battle, a real struggle. And let me speak about something many people are afraid to admit: music. My brothers, leaving music is not easy, especially if you grew up with it, especially if it was always there, in your car, in your headphones, in your gym, in your scrolling, in your mood. It becomes part of your routine. And when you try to stop, it feels like withdrawal, because you're not just leaving a sound, you're leaving a dopamine addiction. And the most dangerous part, it's not just that music distracts you, it plants itself inside you. You might hear one song just once, and then for the next week, it's playing in your mind on repeat, even when you don't want it, even when you hate it, even when you're trying to focus. And the worst moment, the moment that should scare every believer, is when it comes back inside salah. You stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you say Allahu Akbar, you begin reciting, and suddenly lyrics start playing in your head, not because you wanted it, not because you chose it, but because your heart stored it. And that's the painful truth. You didn't choose the song, but your heart saved it. If you truly understood that, you would fear what you listen to, because the devil doesn't need to destroy your faith in one day. He just needs to keep noise in your heart until Quran feels silent. Channel number 2, the eyes. Now listen carefully. The second arrow into the heart is the eyes. What you look at does not stay on the screen. It travels to the soul. It shapes your heart. And one of the biggest lies today is, it's just a glance. My brother, that's small glance. Shao is how addictions begin. The first time it's curiosity. The second time it's I won't do it again. The third time it becomes normal. And by the 10th time your heart starts craving it. Because your eyes trained your heart. You scroll and scroll and your heart becomes numb. You watch and watch and your heart becomes hard. And you don't even realize you're losing something priceless until you try to pray and your khushu is gone. Because the eyes are not a joke. The eyes are an entrance. The eyes are an arrow. And the internet today, it is a test that follows you everywhere. In your pocket, in your bed, in your private moments. And that's why so many people feel dead inside, even though they laugh outside. So remember this line: your eyes train your heart. Train them on haram, and your heart will crave haram. Train them on purity, and your heart will love purity. Channel number 3, the tongue. And now, the third channel, the tongue. What you speak feeds your heart, because your tongue is not separate from your heart. It is a mirror of it. Your tongue reveals what your heart loves. That's why some people can talk for hours about football, cars, money, drama, women, status, and they speak with passion. But mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the energy dies. Mention Quran and the room becomes quiet. Mention the hereafter and people feel uncomfortable, because the tongue exposes the heart's attachment. And that's why backbiting is so deadly, because it doesn't just hurt the other person, it poisons the speaker. It turns your heart dark. pointless debates, flexing, complaining, negativity, it all fills the cup. And once the cup is full, it overflows into arrogance, into anger, into spiritual emptiness. We think we're strong, but we're not. My brothers, we think we're strong. We think we can handle it. We think we can play with fire and not get burned. But shaitan doesn't destroy you in one hit. He weakens you slowly, drip by drip. He doesn't pull you into darkness immediately. He makes you comfortable with dim light first, until one day you can't even recognize your own heart. So protect your ears, protect your eyes, protect your tongue, because these are the arrows, and once they hit, the heart begins to change. And now the question is, so where do hearts finally find peace when everything else fails? So my brothers, my sisters, after all of that, after the noise, after the distractions, after the cravings, after the arrows that hit your heart, you finally reach a moment where you ask yourself, where do I go now? Because entertainment didn't fix you. Relationships didn't heal you. Money didn't calm you down. Status didn't protect you. You laughed, but still felt empty. You scrolled, but still felt heavy. You achieved, but still felt lost. And that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers you with one of the most powerful statements in the Quran. Not a suggestion, not advice, a reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ar-Ra'd, ayah 28, Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Listen to that slowly. Ala, no doubt, no question, no debate. Bi dhikrillah. Through the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tatma'innul qulub. The hearts finally find rest. Not the body, not the bank account, not your followers, the heart. Because the heart is the battlefield. And the heart is not satisfied by temporary pleasure. Real peace is not in entertainment. It's not in movies. It's not in music. It's not in trends. Real peace is not in a relationship, not in attention, not in being wanted. Real peace is not in money, not in status, not in being somebody. Because every single one of these things is temporary. But the heart was created for the one who is eternal, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the more you run away from dhikr, the heavier life becomes, and the more you turn to dhikr, the lighter the heart feels, even if your problems are still there. And my brothers, this is where you need to understand something deeper. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pure, and Jannah is pure. And the ones who enter Jannah must be purified, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept filth, not physical filth and not spiritual filth. And that's why your heart cannot stay dirty forever. Either you clean it now or you will regret it later, because only purified hearts can enter the place of purity. So ask yourself, what does your heart need to be cleansed from? Addictions, the things you keep returning to even after tawbah. Sins, the private ones no one knows about. Desires, the ones you hide behind excuses. Arrogance, thinking you're safe, thinking you're above the test, and hidden filth. Envy, hypocrisy, pride, love of attention, the sickness that doesn't show on your face, but it destroys your soul. My brothers, a heart doesn't die suddenly, it dies slowly, one sin at a time, one excuse at a time, just this once at a time, until you wake up and you don't recognize yourself anymore. So purify it before it becomes too heavy to carry. And now I need to warn you about something dangerous, a fitna that is destroying people silently, a fire that is burning hearts without anyone smelling the smoke. Private conversations between men and women. My brothers, don't play with fire, never. Because shaitan doesn't need a doorway, he just needs a moment alone. And don't ever think knowledge protects you. Don't ever think fame protects you. Don't ever think I'm strong protects you. Because the people who fall are not always the people who are ignorant. Sometimes the people who fall are the ones who thought they were untouchable. So protect yourself with a system, a safe system. Clear boundaries, no private numbers, no secret chats, no hidden conversations. If a woman needs to speak, let her husband be there. If not the husband, then the father. If not the father, then the brother. And if someone says, don't worry, he's a good guy, say, I'm not worried about him, I'm worried about shaitan. Because the heart is weak and you are human.